So today I want us to look at this question on chemistry. We are required to fill this table. First of all, you are told to study, and then after studying the table, you have to complete it. So we have to complete the ion column, the valency column, and the oxidation number column. So even before we look at how we are supposed to fill the three columns that we have here, we need to understand that the symbols that we have here does not represent the actual symbol of the elements. So for us to be able to fill the ion column, first of all we need to understand the electron arrangement of each and every atom that we have here. If you look at the atom X, the electron arrangement is 2:3, which tells us that the first energy level is filled, the second energy level it is not filled. So for the atom X to be stable, it requires to gain 5 electrons or lose 3 electrons. Remember, for the second energy level to be filled, it must have a maximum of 8 electrons. So if you look at the second energy level on the atom X, we only have 3 electrons. So for the second energy level to be filled, it requires to gain 5 electrons. Again, another thing that we have to consider here, it is the energy requirement. So for this atom X to become stable, if it gains 5 electrons, it will require more energy to do that. But if it loses the 3 electrons, it will require less energy. Meaning, for this atom to be stable, it will have to lose the 3 electrons, because losing the 3 electrons requires less energy compared to gaining 5 electrons. So the ion of the X will be X. How many electrons it has lost? 3. So we'll have 3 plus. The positive sign here shows that the atom, for it to form an ion, it has lost electrons. And in this case here, it has lost 3 electrons. Let us look at the second atom, that is the atom Y. The electron arrangement for atom Y, we have 2:8:2. Again, looking at the third energy level, we have only 2 electrons. And for the third energy level to be stable or to be fully filled up, it requires to have a maximum of 8 electrons. But if you look at the atom Y, it has only 2 electrons, which tells us that for the third energy level to have 8 electrons, we require to add 6 electrons here. So, is it easy for this atom to gain 6 electrons or lose 2 electrons? Again, gaining 6 electrons requires a large amount of energy compared to losing 2 electrons, which tells us that for the atom Y to be stable, or for it to form an ion, it is going to lose what? The 2 electrons, because that is what requires less energy. So the ion of Y will be Y2 plus, which tells us that for the atom to form the ion, it lost 2 electrons. Let us look at the atom Y. The atom Y electron arrangement is 2:7. So for the second energy level to be fully filled up, we only require one electron in this case. So it is easy for this atom W to lose to gain one electron compared to losing 7 electrons. So for the atom Y to form the ion, it is going to do what? To gain one electron. So the ion of atom W will be W negative. The negative sign here shows that for the atom Y, W, to form an ion, it gained only one electron. Let us look at the other atom, that is the atom Z. The electron arrangement for the atom Z is 2:5. If you look at the second energy level, we have only 5 electrons. So for the second energy level to be fully filled up, it requires 3 electrons. So for the Z to form an ion, it requires to gain 3 electrons. So the ion that will be formed when Z gains 3 electrons will be Z3 negative. Again, the negative sign here indicates that the atom Z gained electrons for it to be stable. Let us look at the atom Y. The electron arrangement for the atom Y is 2:8:8. If you look at the first energy level, what we know is that the first energy level can only accommodate a maximum of 2 electrons, meaning it is already fully filled. The second energy level can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. The third energy level also can only accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. So if you look at all the 3 energy levels that we have in the atom R, they are fully filled, meaning the atom W is already stable. It does not require to lose nor gain electrons for it to be stable, because it is already stable. So in this case, under the column of ion, the R is not going to form any ion. So let us look at the valency. So from the definition of the term valency, valency is defined as the number of electrons an atom gains or loses for it to be stable. So with that knowledge, then we can be able to determine the valencies of the atoms that we have already looked at. Let us start with the first atom, that is the atom X. So how many electrons did the atom X lose for it to become stable? It is 3, which tells us the valency number of X will be 3. Y lost 2 electrons for it to become stable. So the valency number of Y will be 2. W gained 1 electron for it to become stable. So the valency number for W will be 1. Z gained 3 electrons for it to become stable, which tells us that the valency number for Z is 3. Again, under the atom R, we are not going to talk about the valency because it never gained nor did it lose electron or electrons for it to become stable. Let us now look at the oxidation number. So the oxidation number will be given by the number of electrons that an atom gained or lost. Again, whenever you are writing the oxidation number, you are supposed to start with the sign positive or negative. So in this case, we have 3 electrons that the atom X lost. So the oxidation number for X will be positive 3 because it is losing the electrons. The atom Y, the oxidation number for atom Y, it lost 2 electrons, so we'll have it as positive 2. W, it gained 1 electron, so the valence number was 1, and because of that, because it is gaining, we are going to write the oxidation number of W as negative 1. Z gained 3 electrons for it to become stable, so the oxidation number of Z will be negative 3. Negative 3. Again, under the atom R, we are not going to talk about the oxidation number. The reason being, it did not gain nor lose any electron. So we can have 0 as 0. About the ion, we cannot put 0, but on the valency and oxidation number, we can just put zeros. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you share with your friends so that also they can benefit from this knowledge.